They say that when your heart breaks, it doesn't actually make a sound. That's a lie. I heard it. I heard it loud and clear on a Tuesday afternoon in my laundry room. It sounded exactly like the ping of an Apple Watch notification. But right now, I'm not in the laundry room. I'm standing in the ballroom of the Ritz-Carlton, wearing a $3,000 tuxedo that I bought specifically for this moment. In my right hand, I'm holding a glass of champagne. In my left hand, hidden inside my pocket, is a small, black remote control. Directly in front of me, sitting at the head table, is my wife, Jessica. She looks radiant. She's the maid of honor. And sitting right next to her, laughing at something she just whispered, is the best man. His name is Ryan. He's my brother-in-law's best friend. And he's also the man my wife has been sleeping with for the last 8 months. They think I'm here to give a toast. They think I'm here to play a heartwarming slideshow of childhood memories for the happy couple. They think I'm the clueless, nice guy husband who wouldn't hurt a fly. They have no idea that in exactly 5 minutes, I'm going to press this button in my pocket. And when I do, I'm not just going to ruin a wedding. I'm going to detonate a nuclear bomb on my entire life. And the best part? I'm going to enjoy every single second of the fallout. Welcome to the story of how I lost my marriage, but found my self-respect. If you're new here, do me a favor. Look at that subscribe button. Pretend it's the person who betrayed you, and smash it. Trust me, it feels good. Welcome to ThreadVerse. Let's get into the nightmare. To understand the level of hatred I felt in that ballroom, you have to understand how much I loved her. You have to understand the height from which I fell. Jessica and I were the couple you hated on Instagram. You know the type. #blessed. #power couple. We met in college. I was studying architecture. She was in marketing. I was the quiet, structured guy who liked blueprints and logic. She was the chaos, the color, the noise, the life of the party. We balanced each other out. Or at least, that's what I told myself. We got married 4 years ago. We bought the house in the suburbs, a nice colonial with a white picket fence, literally. We adopted a golden retriever named Buster. We hosted the neighborhood barbecues. On the surface, we were living the American dream. But looking back now, with the clarity of hindsight, I realized that I wasn't living in a dream. I was living in a carefully constructed set, and Jessica was the director. The cracks started showing about a year ago, but they were hairline fractures. Invisible to the naked eye unless you were looking for them. And I wasn't looking. Why would I? I trusted her. It started with the privacy talk. Jessica had always been an open book. We knew each other's phone passcodes. We shared an iPad. We had no secrets. Then, one night, she changed. We were sitting on the couch, watching Netflix. My phone was dead, so I reached for hers to Google the name of an actor. She snatched it out of my hand. Like a reflex. Like a cobra striking. Whoa, I said, laughing nervously. Relax, Jess. Just checking IMDb. She didn't laugh. Her eyes were wide, panicked. I was just planning a surprise for your birthday, she stammered. I don't want you to see the emails. My birthday was 5 months away. In November? I asked. I like to plan ahead, Mike. You know that. She forced a laugh, tucked a strand of blonde hair behind her ear, and put the phone face down on the table. Just let me have my privacy, okay? We don't need to share everything. I let it go. I told myself she was just being thoughtful. I told myself I was lucky to have a wife who planned birthdays 5 months in advance. I was an idiot. Then came the fitness obsession. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all for health. I go for a run every morning. But Jessica hated sweating. Her idea of exercise was walking from the car to the mall entrance. But suddenly, in January, she joined a new gym. A high-end, exclusive club across town. I want to get in shape for Sarah's wedding, she told me. Sarah is her younger sister, the bride at the wedding I mentioned earlier. I'm the maid of honor, Mike. All eyes are going to be on me. I need to look perfect. You already look perfect, I told her. And I meant it. She kissed me on the cheek, a cold, distant peck, and grabbed her gym bag. You're sweet, but I need to tone up. I hired a personal trainer. He's supposed to be really good. Ryan. Or Brian. Something like that. He trained Sarah's fiancé too. That was the first time I heard his name. Ryan. If I had known then what I know now, I would have burned that gym bag. But instead, I supported her. I cooked healthy meals. I listened to her talk about her glute bridges and deadlifts. She started going to the gym every day. Then, every evening. Then, the late night started. Why are you going to the gym at 9 p.m. on a Friday? I asked one night, looking up from my laptop. She was standing by the door, wearing tight yoga pants and a sports bra that seemed a little revealing for a workout. She had makeup on, full contour. It's the only time Ryan could fit me in, she said, checking her reflection in the hallway mirror. He's in high demand. I bet he is, I muttered, mostly to myself. What was that? Her tone snapped. Sharp. Defensive. Nothing, I said. Just, don't stay out too late. We have that brunch with your parents tomorrow. She left without saying goodbye. The door slammed shut, and the house felt suddenly very big and very empty. I remember sitting there, Buster's head on my lap, feeling this strange knot in my stomach. It wasn't jealousy exactly. It was exclusion. I felt like my wife was living a whole separate life that I wasn't invited to. And the smell. That was the other thing. When she came home from these intense workout sessions, She didn't smell like sweat. She didn't smell like a gym. She smelled like shower gel. Specifically, a musky, cedarwood shower gel. Not the lavender stuff we used. And definitely not the smell of a woman who just did an hour of cardio. You showered at the gym? I asked one night as she climbed into bed. Yeah, she said, turning her back to me. The showers there are amazing. Steam room, sauna, it's like a spa. Good night, Mike. Good night, Jess. I stared at her back in the dark. I wanted to reach out and touch her, but there was a wall between us. An invisible, cold wall. I told myself I was being paranoid. She's just stressed about the wedding, I thought. She's just trying to look good. I was buying her lies wholesale, and she wasn't even charging me tax. Fast forward to April. The wedding was 2 months away. It was a Tuesday. I remember the weather. It was raining. That gray, miserable drizzle that makes you want to stay in bed. I had taken a sick day, a migraine. Jessica thought I was at the office. She had left early that morning, claiming she had a breakfast meeting with a client before hitting the gym. I woke up around 11 a.m., feeling groggy. I shuffled downstairs to make coffee. The house was quiet. I walked into the laundry room to throw in a load of towels. And there it was, sitting on top of the dryer, next to the lint trap. Her Apple Watch. She must have taken it off to do laundry the night before and forgotten to put it back on in her rush to leave for her meeting. My heart did a little jump. Don't touch it, Mike, a voice in my head said. Respect her privacy. Remember the birthday surprise? But another voice, a louder, deeper, more primal voice, said, pick it up. I picked it up. The screen was black. Locked. I tried our old passcode, 1-1-0-4, our anniversary. Wrong passcode. I tried her birthday. Wrong passcode. I tried the last 4 digits of her social. Wrong passcode. I sighed and put it down. See, I told myself, you're crazy. Stop snooping. I turned around to walk out of the room. And then, ding, a notification sound. I froze. I turned back slowly. The screen had lit up. It was a preview. Unlike the iPhone, which usually hides the message content until unlocked, she hadn't changed the settings on her watch. The full text was scrolling across the tiny OLED face. It wasn't a text message. It was a notification from an app called Signal, an encrypted messaging app. Why did my wife, a marketing manager, need encrypted messaging? The sender's name was saved as Coach R, and the message read, last night was insane. My legs are still shaking. Can't wait for the wedding weekend, so we don't have to hide this anymore. Does your loser husband suspect anything? Time stopped. I mean that literally. The hum of the dryer, the rain on the window, the beating of my own heart. It all just stopped. The world narrowed down to those glowing white letters on the black background. Loser husband. I read it again, and a fourth time. I wasn't angry. Not yet. I was in shock. It was like getting punched in the gut by Mike Tyson. I felt the air leave my lungs. I actually had to grab the edge of the washing machine to keep from falling over. Then, a second message popped up. I've booked the suite at the Grand for this afternoon. Room 304. Tell him you have a late meeting. I need you. The Grand. The most expensive hotel in the city. And Coach R. Ryan. The personal trainer. The best man. The puzzle pieces didn't just fall into place. They slammed together with the force of a car crash. The gym sessions. The late nights. The cedarwood shower gel. The privacy. The password changes. It wasn't a surprise birthday party. It wasn't a new fitness regime. It was an affair. A full-blown, calculated, disrespectful affair. And not just with anyone. With the man who was supposed to stand next to her sister's fiancé at the altar. I sank to the floor. I sat on the cold tiles of the laundry room, clutching that watch like it was a lifeline. Tears pricked my eyes, but they didn't fall. Because as I sat there, reading those words, does your loser husband suspect anything? Something inside me snapped. The sadness evaporated. The shock faded. And in its place, a cold, dark fury began to rise. It started in my stomach and spread to my chest, my throat, my brain. I stood up. I took out my own phone. I took a picture of the watch screen. Then I took a video of the messages scrolling. I put the watch back exactly where I found it. Same angle, same position. I walked into the kitchen, poured the coffee down the sink, and opened my laptop. I had a choice to make. Option A, call her right now. Scream at her. Demand a divorce. Blow it all up today. Option B, play dumb. Gather evidence. Lawyer up. And wait for the most devastating moment possible to reveal the truth. I looked at the calendar on the fridge. The wedding was in 8 weeks. 8 weeks. Could I pretend for 8 weeks? Could I sleep in the same bed as her, knowing she was laughing at me with Coach R? I looked at the photo of the watch again. Loser husband. Challenge accepted, Ryan. I whispered to the empty room. I chose option B. I wasn't just going to divorce her. I was going to destroy her reputation, her finances, and her little fantasy world. I was going to become the villain they thought I was too weak to be. The first step was the hardest. She came home that night around 7 p.m. Hey honey, she called out, breezy and cheerful. Sorry I'm late. The meeting ran long. She walked into the kitchen and kissed me. I smelled him on her. Underneath her perfume, I smelled that cedarwood soap. It took every ounce of willpower I had not to vomit. How was the meeting? I asked, looking up from my book. My voice sounded surprisingly steady. Oscar-worthy, even. Oh, boring, she sighed, pouring herself a glass of wine. Just going over Q3 projections. But I think I nailed it. I bet you did, I said. What? She turned, glass halfway to her lips. I said, I bet you did. You're great at what you do. She smiled. Thanks, babe. You're the best. She took a sip of wine, completely oblivious. She had no idea that the man sitting across from her was no longer her husband. I was now an undercover agent in my own home. That night, while she showered, taking her phone into the bathroom, of course, I started my research. I didn't Google divorce lawyers. That would be too risky if she checked my history. I used incognito mode. I looked up best private investigators in the city. I needed proof. Hard, undeniable proof. Text messages on a watch were good, but in a court of law, I needed photos. I needed dates. I needed to prove that she was spending our money on him. I found a guy, top-rated. Let's call him Tony. His website looked like something out of a 90s noir movie, but the reviews were stellar. Tony got me full custody. Tony found the hidden assets. Tony is a bulldog. I sent him an email via a burner Proton Mail account I created. Subject, cheating wife/asset investigation. Message, my wife is seeing a man named Ryan. I need photos. I need bank trails. And I need it all before June 15th. June 15th, the wedding date. I hit send. Then I closed the laptop, walked into the bedroom, and climbed into bed next to the woman who was ruining my life. She rolled over and draped an arm across my chest. Love you, Mike, she mumbled, half asleep. I lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling fan spinning round and round. Love you too, I lied. The game was on. And unlike her, I wasn't playing for fun. I was playing to win. Living with a cheater is a psychological torture I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. For the next 2 weeks, I became an Academy Award-winning actor. Every morning, I woke up next to her. I smelled that cedarwood soap on her skin, his soap. I watched her check her phone and smile at texts that I knew weren't from work. And every morning, I had to smile back. Have a good day, honey, I'd say, kissing her forehead. Inside, I was screaming. She was getting sloppy too. Emboldened. She started leaving her phone face up. She started coming home later and later. Project delays, she'd say. Client dinners. I noted every single one. April 22nd, home at 10:30 p.m. Client dinner? No, Ryan's apartment. April 25th, business trip to the coast. Weekend getaway with Ryan. I kept a journal. Not a Dear Diary journal, but a tactical log. Dates, times, excuses. I was building a timeline, but I needed hard evidence. I needed the smoking gun. That's when Tony called. Tony's office was exactly what you'd expect. Located above a failing dry cleaner in the bad part of town. It smelled like stale coffee and cheap cigarettes. Tony was a big guy. Ex-cop. No nonsense. He didn't look like much, but his eyes saw everything. I sat across from his metal desk. The fan overhead was wobbling, making a rhythmic thwack 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 sound. So, Tony grunted, opening a thick manila envelope. You were right, kid. My stomach dropped. Even though I knew, hearing it from a professional made it real. It made it final. How bad is it? I asked. Tony didn't answer. He just started sliding photos across the desk, one by one, like he was dealing playing cards. Slide. Jessica and Ryan holding hands at a cafe. Slide. Ryan kissing her neck in the parking lot of her gym. Slide. The two of them walking into a motel on the outskirts of town. A cheap place. The kind of place you pay by the hour. I stared at the photos. I looked at my wife's face. She looked happy. She looked carefree. That hurt more than the sex. The intimacy. She was giving him the best version of herself, while I got the tired, stressed about work version at home. That's not the worst part, Tony said, lighting a cigarette. He blew a cloud of smoke toward the ceiling. You wanted me to look into the finances, right? Yeah, I said. We have a joint account. I noticed some withdrawals, but nothing huge. She's smart, Tony nodded. She's not draining the joint account. That would raise flags. No, she opened a new credit card. In her name? No. Tony looked me dead in the eye. In your name. A secondary card linked to your home equity line of credit. You signed the papers for the Helic 2 years ago for the kitchen renovation, remember? She reactivated a line you weren't using. I felt the blood drain from my face. What? Look at the statement. He handed me a sheet of paper. My eyes scanned the rows. The Grand Hotel, $450. Men's Warehouse, $600. Suit rental? For Ryan. Tiffany & Co., $1,200. A bracelet I had never seen her wear. Southwest Airlines, 2 tickets to Cabo. Cabo, I whispered. She told me she was going to a marketing seminar in Chicago. She went to Mexico, Mike, Tony said brutally. With him. And you paid for it. You paid for their flights. You paid for their tequila. You probably paid for the condoms. I sat there in silence. The thwack 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 of the fan seemed to get louder. Rage. Pure, unadulterated rage. It's one thing to break my heart. It's another thing to steal my money to fund your affair with another man. She was stealing from our future. She was stealing the equity from the house I worked 60 hours a week to pay for. Can I use this? I asked Tony. My voice sounded strange. Metallic. In court. Tony grinned. It wasn't a nice grin. In this state, this is what we call dissipation of marital assets. Judges hate this stuff. If you play this right, you won't just get a divorce. You'll get everything. I stood up. I shook Tony's hand. Keep digging, I said. I want to know what they eat for breakfast. I want to know everything. The next stop was a lawyer. I didn't want a mediator. I didn't want someone who would talk about amicable separation. I wanted a killer. I found Mrs. Stone. Mrs. Stone was 60 years old, wore a Chanel suit, and had a reputation for making grown men cry in the courtroom. Her hourly rate was higher than my weekly paycheck, but after what Tony showed me, I didn't care. I sat in her glass-walled office, overlooking the city skyline. I laid it all out. The photos, the texts, the credit card fraud. Mrs. Stone put on her reading glasses. She went through the file in silence. 5 minutes passed. 10 minutes. Finally, she closed the folder. She took off her glasses and looked at me. You have a very strong case, Mr. Daniels, she said calmly. But you have a choice to make. What choice? We can file tomorrow. We can freeze the assets, serve her the papers, and kick her out. It will be messy, but it will be over in 6 months. She paused. Or, I asked. Or, she leaned forward. We go scorched earth. We wait. We let her spend more money on that card, building a bigger case for fraud. We let her commit to this wedding appearance. We let her create a public facade of a happy marriage while secretly destroying it. And then, when you have undeniable proof of public humiliation, we strike. Why wait for the wedding? I asked. Because, Mrs. Stone smiled, and it was terrifying. In an at-fault divorce, public humiliation and reputational damage are leverage. If you expose her in front of her entire family, in front of witnesses, she can't spin the narrative. She can't tell her parents you were abusive. She can't tell her friends you were neglectful. The truth will be out there, witnessed by 200 people. She tapped the file. If you do this at the wedding, you control the story. And in divorce court, whoever controls the story, controls the checkbook. I thought about Ryan. I thought about the loser husband text. I thought about the Cabo trip I paid for. Let's do it, I said. Scorched earth. Mrs. Stone nodded. Good. Now, here's your homework. You need to act normal. Better than normal. You need to be the perfect husband. If she suspects anything, she might hide assets or delete evidence. You need to lull her into a false sense of security. I can do that, I promised. 2 weeks before the wedding, the universe handed me a gift wrapped in a bow. I was in the living room, pretending to read a book. Jessica walked in. She was glowing. She had just come back from a facial, which I knew was actually a lunch date with Ryan. Hey babe. She sat on the arm of my chair, running a hand through my hair. Can I ask you a huge favor? Anything, I said, suppressing the urge to flinch at her touch. So, Sarah and her fiancé are swamped with wedding planning. And the videographer they hired is charging extra to make a photo slideshow for the reception. She looked at me with those big, innocent blue eyes. The eyes of a liar. You're so good with tech, Mike. You made that amazing video for your mom's 60th. Would you? Would you mind putting together the slideshow for the wedding? Just some baby pics, some cute couple photos? I stared at her. I literally couldn't believe it. She was handing me the weapon. She was asking me to load the gun, aim it at her, and handing me the trigger. She wanted me to control the projector. The biggest screen in the room. I had to bite the inside of my cheek to keep from laughing. A dark, manic laugh was bubbling up in my throat. Mike? She asked, looking concerned. If you're too busy, it's okay. No, I said quickly. Then, softer. No, sweetie. I'd love to. It would be an honor. I want to make something special. Something unforgettable. She beamed. She leaned down and kissed me on the lips. You're the best husband in the world, she said. Enjoy that thought, Jessica, I thought as she walked away. Because in 2 weeks, I'm going to be your worst nightmare. The hardest test came 3 days before the wedding. The rehearsal dinner. It was at a fancy Italian restaurant. The whole bridal party was there. Jessica was on my left. Ryan was directly across from me. This was the first time I had been in the same room as him since finding out. He was good looking, I'll give him that. Tall, fit, confident. But he had a smugness about him. The kind of guy who thinks rules don't apply to him. We were eating lasagna. I was cutting my food, focusing on not stabbing him with my steak knife. So, Mike, Ryan said, his mouth full. Jessica tells me you're working on the slideshow. I looked up. He was staring right at me. There was a glint in his eye. A challenge. Yeah, I said calmly. It's coming together nicely. That's great, Ryan smirked. He reached for his wine glass. You know, it's really big of you to help out. Most husbands would just want to sit back and drink at the wedding. He emphasized the word husbands. It was a dig, a subtle little power play. He was marking his territory. Jessica giggled nervously. Oh, Mike loves helping. He's a sweetheart. Ryan looked at Jessica, then back at me. Then he did something that made my blood boil. He raised his glass. To Mike, he announced to the table. Everyone quieted down. To the supportive husband. You're a lucky guy, Mike. Jessica is a special woman. You better hold onto her tight. He winked. He actually winked at me. It was such a blatant act of disrespect. He was laughing at me in public, confident that I was too stupid to understand the double meaning. My hand tightened around my wine glass. The stem felt like it was going to snap. I imagined leaping across the table. I imagined smashing the glass into his smug face. I imagined the screams, the blood, the chaos. But then I heard Mrs. Stone's voice in my head. Control the story. If I attacked him now, I'm the crazy, jealous husband. I lose. If I wait 72 hours, I win. I forced my hand to relax. I forced the corners of my mouth up into a smile. Thanks, Ryan, I said. I know exactly how special she is. And trust me, everyone is going to see just how special she is on Saturday. Cheers to that. Ryan laughed, clinking his glass against mine. Cheers, you son of a b, I thought. Enjoy your last meal as an employed man. That night, I went home and finished the slideshow. I added the photos Tony gave me. I added the screenshots of the texts. I added the credit card statement highlighting the Cabo trip. And finally, I synced the audio recording I had captured from her car, the one where she admitted to the affair. I exported the file. File name, wedding_surprise_final.mp4. I saved it to a USB drive. Then I saved it to the cloud. Then I emailed it to myself. There was no way this video wasn't playing. The stage was set. The actors were in place. Now, all I had to do was wait for the curtain to rise. I woke up at 6 a.m. I didn't need an alarm. Adrenaline is a hell of a drug. Jessica was already up, rushing around the room in a silk robe, steaming her maid of honor dress. She looked stressed but excited. Morning, babe, she chirped, applying eye cream. Can you believe it's finally here? No, I said, sitting up. I really can't. I watched her for a moment. This woman, who I had vowed to spend my life with, was humming a Taylor Swift song while packing a bag that I knew contained lingerie for a post-wedding hookup with Ryan. Are you nervous about the speech? She asked, pausing to look at me. A little, I lied. But the video is going to be the highlight. I promise you that. She smiled. A genuine, warm smile. I know it will be. You always work so hard for this family. Sarah is going to love it. I stood up and walked to the closet to get my tuxedo. Yeah, I said, running my hand over the black fabric. Sarah is definitely going to be surprised. I showered. I shaved. I dressed slowly, methodically, like a soldier putting on armor. Shirt, studs, cufflinks, tie, and finally, the jacket. I checked my pockets. Left pocket, my phone. Right pocket, the remote control for the projector. Inner jacket pocket, the USB drive. I looked at myself in the mirror. I looked tired around the eyes, but my jaw was set. Game time, I whispered to my reflection. The ceremony was held at a vineyard. It was one of those picture-perfect summer weddings. White chairs on the green grass, flowers everywhere, a string quartet playing Pachelbel's canon. I sat in the second row, right behind the family. I watched Jessica walk down the aisle. She looked stunning in her lavender dress. She held the bouquet with grace. Everyone whispered about how beautiful she looked. I felt nothing. No love. No hate. Just a cold, clinical detachment. Then came Ryan. He walked down the aisle with that confident, athlete stride. He winked at a bridesmaid. He high-fived the groom. He stood at the altar, looking like the perfect best man. The ceremony began. The priest started talking about sanctity, loyalty, and trust. The irony was so thick I could taste it. I watched Ryan and Jessica. They were standing on opposite sides of the altar, about 10 feet apart. But I saw it. The glances. The subtle smiles. The way Ryan's eyes lingered on her dress. The way Jessica bit her lip when she looked at him. To everyone else, it looked like two friends happy for the couple. To me, it looked like two criminals communicating in code. Do you promise to be faithful to him, as long as you both shall live? The priest asked the bride. I do, Sarah said, tearing up. I looked at Jessica. She was dabbing her eyes with a tissue. Was she crying because she was happy for her sister? Or was she crying because she knew she had already broken that vow 1,000 times? I clenched my fists. Just wait, I told myself. 3 more hours. The reception was in the grand ballroom. Crystal chandeliers, round tables with expensive centerpieces, an open bar. The alcohol was flowing. Everyone was laughing. I stuck to water. I needed to be razor sharp. I walked over to the AV booth in the corner. The DJ was a young guy with headphones around his neck. Hey man, I said. I'm the brother-in-law. I have the presentation. Oh cool, the DJ said. Just plug into the HDMI here. I'll give you audio through the main system. I plugged in my laptop. I opened the file. Wedding_surprise_final.mp4. I paused it at midnight. Black screen. Do not touch this, I told the DJ. I have a remote. I'll control it from the floor. You got it, boss. He gave me a thumbs up. I walked back to my table. Dinner was served. Filet mignon. I cut it into tiny pieces but couldn't eat. My heart was hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. Then came the speeches. The father of the bride spoke. He cried. The groom spoke. He talked about how lucky he was. Then, Ryan stood up. He held the microphone like a rock star. He was drunk. Not stumbling drunk, but arrogant drunk. I've known Dave since college, Ryan said, slapping the groom on the back. He's the most loyal guy I know. And Sarah, you're a catch. You two deserve each other. He raised his glass. To loyalty. To loyalty, the crowd cheered. Ryan looked at Jessica across the head table. And to the maid of honor, for helping me plan the logistics of the weekend. A few people laughed. I didn't. Logistics. That was their code word. I had seen it in the texts. Logistics meant figuring out how to sneak away to hook up. He was mocking us again. Finally, the DJ's voice boomed over the speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, can we get your attention to the main screen? The bride's brother-in-law, Mike, has prepared a very special video presentation to celebrate the couple's journey. Applause. Polite clapping. Jessica turned to me from the head table. She mouthed, "Good luck," and blew me a kiss. I stood up. I didn't go to the podium. I walked to the center of the dance floor. Just me, the remote, and 400 eyes staring at me. The lights dimmed. The room went pitch black, except for the glow of the massive projector screen. I held the microphone. My hand wasn't shaking. "Hello, everyone," I said. My voice echoed through the silent hall. "I've spent the last 2 months working on this video. Jessica asked me to make something memorable, something that captures the true essence of what has been happening behind the scenes leading up to this wedding." I looked at Ryan. He was leaning back in his chair, smiling, expecting a montage of drunk college photos. I looked at Jessica. She was beaming. So, I continued. "Without further ado, let's look at the truth." I pressed the button. Slide 1. The screen lit up. It was a photo of Sarah and Dave, the bride and groom, from their first date. Oh, the crowd cooed. Soft piano music played. Slide 2. A photo of Sarah and Jessica as kids. "So cute," someone yelled. Jessica smiled, wiping a tear. I looked at her and smiled back. "Here it comes." Slide 3. The music abruptly cut out. Silence. A new image appeared on the screen. It was jarring. High contrast. It was a screenshot of a text message thread. The font was blown up to 100-point size, so even Grandma in the back row could read it. Cinder. Coach R. Ryan, message. "Last night was insane. My legs are still shaking. Can't wait for the wedding weekend. Does your loser husband suspect anything?" Reply, Jessica, "Nope. He's clueless. I'll be at the hotel in 20. Room 304. For about 3 seconds, nobody moved. It was like the brain couldn't process what the eyes were seeing. People were confused. Was this a joke? Was this some weird inside meme? Then, a ripple of murmurs started. "What is that? Is that?" I saw Jessica's face change. It wasn't gradual. It was instant. Her smile vanished, replaced by a look of sheer, unadulterated terror. Her eyes went wide. Her skin turned paper white. She stood up so fast her chair fell backward with a loud clatter. "Mike," she squeaked. I didn't answer. I pressed the button again. Slide 4. A photo. High resolution. Taken with a telephoto lens by Tony the PI. It showed Jessica and Ryan. They were in a car. Ryan's hand was, well, let's just say it wasn't on the steering wheel. And Jessica was kissing him. The date and timestamp were clearly visible in the corner. April 14th, 11:42 p.m. A collective gasp went through the room. It sounded like the air being sucked out of an airlock. The mother of the bride covered her mouth with her hand. The groom, Dave, slowly turned his head to look at Ryan. Ryan froze. He was holding his wine glass halfway to his mouth. He looked like a statue of a man whose life just ended. "Turn it off," Jessica screamed. Her voice cracked. "Mike, stop it. It's not real." She started running towards me. She was tripping over her long dress, scrambling to get to the remote. "Sit down, Jessica," I said into the microphone. My voice was calm, amplified, booming like the voice of God. "I'm not done." Slide 5. Another photo. Ryan and Jessica walking into a motel room. And next to it, a bank statement. Highlighted in neon yellow. Southwest Airlines. Cabo San Lucas. $2,300. Cardholder, Mike Daniels. Authorized user, Jessica Daniels. "You see," I said to the crowd, narrating the slide like a business presentation. "My wife didn't just sleep with the best man. She used my home equity line of credit to pay for their vacation to Mexico. While I was at work paying the mortgage, they were drinking margaritas on my dime." The room erupted. It wasn't silence anymore. It was chaos. People were shouting. "Oh my God, are you kidding me? You scumbag." The groom stood up. He was a big guy, a former linebacker. He looked at Ryan. His face was purple. "You went to Cabo?" Dave yelled. His voice shook the walls. "You told me you were visiting your sick grandmother in Ohio." Ryan stood up, hands raised in surrender. "Dave, listen, man, it's out of context. He faked it. It's AI. Deep fake. It's not AI, Ryan," I said calmly. "Let's listen to the audio." I pressed the button one last time. Slide 6. The audio, the screen went black. The audio from the car recording played through the massive, concert-quality speakers of the Ritz-Carlton. Jessica's voice, clear as day. "I can't wait to leave him. He's such a boring, spineless pushover. Once I figure out how to hide my bonus, I'm filing for divorce. I just need to use him for the house payments a little longer." Ryan's voice, "Don't worry, babe. We'll take him for everything he's got." Laughter. Both of them laughing. The recording ended. The silence that followed was heavy. It was the kind of silence that happens after a gunshot. I looked at the head table. Jessica was sobbing into her hands, shaking violently. Ryan was backing away, looking for an exit. I looked at the bride, Sarah. She was staring at her sister. Her face was a mask of betrayal. Then, she picked up her glass of red wine. She walked over to Jessica, and she threw the entire glass of wine right into Jessica's face. Splash. The red liquid soaked the lavender maid of honor dress. It looked like blood. "Get out!" Sarah screamed. It was a banshee scream. "Get out of my wedding. Both of you." Chaos. Absolute, beautiful chaos. The groom lunged at Ryan. The groomsmen had to hold him back. A table was overturned. Glasses shattered. Jessica was on her knees, crying, begging her mother to listen. Her mother turned her back on her. I stood in the middle of the dance floor, the eye of the storm. I felt light. The heavy weight I had been carrying for 2 months was gone. I placed the microphone gently on the floor. Thud. I dropped the remote control next to it. Clatter. I adjusted my cufflinks. I turned around and started walking towards the exit. Mike, Jessica screamed from the floor. Mike, please. Let me explain. I stopped. I didn't turn around. I just looked over my shoulder. You explained enough in the car, Jessica, I said. I didn't need the microphone. The room was quiet enough to hear me. The divorce papers are on the kitchen counter. Don't come home. I changed the locks this morning. I walked out of the ballroom doors. As the doors swung shut behind me, I heard the sound of the groom finally breaking free and landing a punch on Ryan. I walked through the lobby. The concierge looked at me. Leaving so soon, sir? The party is just starting. I smiled. A real smile. The party, I said, is over. I walked out into the cool night air. I loosened my tie. I took a deep breath. I was single. I was heartbroken. But goddammit, I was free. I didn't stay to watch the fight. But thanks to modern technology, I got a play-by-play. My phone started blowing up about 20 minutes after I left the parking lot. First, a text from Jessica's cousin, Ben. Ben was always the cool one in the family. Ben, dude, you were a legend. Also, you might want to call the cops. Dave just broke a wine bottle over Ryan's head. Then, a text from my mother-in-law. Well, soon-to-be ex-mother-in-law. MIL, how could you do this publicly? You humiliated us. I didn't reply. I just blocked her. I wasn't the one sleeping with the best man, Linda. Don't blame the messenger. Then, the videos started rolling in. Someone recorded the aftermath on Snapchat. The video showed Ryan on the floor, holding his nose, blood streaming through his fingers. His expensive tuxedo was ruined. Dave, the groom, was being held back by 3 groomsmen, screaming, I trusted you. You were my brother. Jessica was in the corner, hysterical. Her lavender dress was stained red with wine. She looked like a character from a horror movie. Her own father was standing over her, shouting. I couldn't make out the words, but his finger pointing at the door was universal language for, get out of my sight. I watched the video twice. Did I feel bad? I looked at the empty passenger seat of my car. I thought about the months of gaslighting. The loser husband texts. No, I didn't feel bad. I felt vindicated. I got home around 11 p.m. The house was dark. Buster, my golden retriever, met me at the door, wagging his tail. He was the only loyal thing in that house. Hey buddy. I knelt down and hugged him. It's just us now. I had changed the locks that morning before the wedding. A locksmith came at 8 a.m. while Jessica was at the salon. I walked into the kitchen. The divorce papers were exactly where I left them, sitting on the granite island, next to a pen. Beside them, I had placed 2 black garbage bags. A subtle hint. Around 2 a.m., a car pulled into the driveway. It was an Uber. Jessica stumbled out. She looked wrecked. Her hair was a bird's nest. Her makeup was smeared. She walked up to the front door and tried her key. It didn't turn. She tried again, jiggled it, pushed it. Nothing. I was watching her through the Ring doorbell camera on my phone, sitting in the dark living room with a glass of whiskey. Ding dong. She rang the bell. Then she started pounding on the door. Mike, let me in. I live here. Open the door. I pressed the talk button on the app. You don't live here anymore, Jessica. My voice came out of the tiny speaker on the porch. Read the court order taped to the door. She ripped the paper off the door. I had gotten an emergency protective order earlier that week, citing volatile behavior and potential destruction of property. Thanks, Mrs. Stone. It wasn't fully legally binding for eviction yet, but it was enough to scare her. Mike, please, she sobbed into the camera. I have nowhere to go. My parents kicked me out. Sarah won't talk to me. Ryan is in the hospital. Please. Ryan is in the hospital? I asked. That's shame. Maybe you should go visit him. I hear the waiting room chairs are very comfortable. I hate you, she screamed, kicking the door. The feeling is mutual, I said. Goodbye, Jessica. I turned off the camera. She pounded for another 10 minutes, then called another Uber. I watched her taillights fade away. For the first time in years, I slept like a baby. Monday morning, 9 a.m. I was in Mrs. Stone's office. She looked fresh, rested, and ready for war. I heard the wedding was eventful, she said, raising an eyebrow. You could say that, I replied. Did you see the video? The whole firm saw the video, she smiled. It's circulating on Twitter. You're trending, Mr. Daniels. She opened a file. Now, let's get down to business. Jessica called my office this morning. She has hired a lawyer, a strip mall attorney. He's out of his league. Mrs. Stone laid out the plan. Because I had proof of adultery, photos, proof of financial fraud, using the helic for the affair, and proof of marital waste, spending assets on a lover, the law was heavily on my side. We filed for an at-fault divorce. We demanded the house. I wanted 100% equity, the debt. I wanted her to take 100% of the credit card debt she racked up. Alimony, 0. None. In fact, we sued her for reimbursement of the Cabo trip. The negotiation meeting happened 2 weeks later. Jessica walked in. She looked thin, pale. She wouldn't look me in the eye. Her lawyer tried to bluster. My client is entitled to 50% of the marital assets. Mrs. Stone didn't even look up from her iPad. Your client, Mrs. Stone said calmly, committed fraud. We have a forensic accounting report here showing she funneled $14,000 of marital funds to Mr. Ryan Miller over a 6-month period. We also have video evidence of her admitting to a conspiracy to hide assets. Mrs. Stone slid a USB drive across the table. If we go to trial, Mrs. Stone continued, we will play the car recording for the judge. We will subpoena Ryan Miller. We will subpoena the hotel records. And we will ask for legal fees. She paused. Or, she signs the house over to Mike, takes her debt, and walks away today. Jessica looked at her lawyer. Her lawyer looked at the USB drive. He knew he couldn't win. He whispered something to Jessica. She started crying again. But I have no money. How will I live? Mrs. Stone looked at her cold. You have a marketing degree, Mrs. Daniels. I suggest you use it. Jessica signed. She signed the house over. She signed the debt over. She walked out of that office with nothing but her clothes and a 2015 Honda Civic. But what about Ryan? Oh, I didn't forget about Ryan. Ryan worked as a wealth manager at a mid-sized investment bank, a job that requires a high level of trust and fiduciary responsibility. Most employment contracts in finance have something called a morality clause. It basically says if you do something public that brings shame or disrepute to the company, they can fire you. Getting beat up by a groom at a wedding for sleeping with the bride's sister? That's bad. Having a viral video of you stealing a client's money, to go to Cabo? That's worse. I didn't even have to send the email. The internet did it for me. The video of the projection, specifically the slide showing the bank statement, went viral on TikTok. The caption was, Wealth Manager Ryan Miller steals money from husband to bang wife. The internet detectives found his LinkedIn in about 4 minutes. They flooded his employer's review page. Is this the Ryan Miller who steals from clients? Would not trust this bank, they employ homewreckers. 3 days after the wedding, Ryan was called into HR. He was fired for cause. And because he was fired for an ethics violation involving financial misconduct, using my card, the bank reported him to the regulatory board. His license to trade? Suspended pending investigation. He didn't just lose his job. He lost his career. I heard through the grapevine, Cousin Ben again, that Ryan tried to reach out to Jessica after he got fired. He wanted to stay on her parents' couch. Jessica's dad threatened to shoot him if he stepped onto the property. So the great romance. The soulmates who mocked me? They turned on each other instantly. Ryan blamed Jessica for not deleting the texts. Jessica blamed Ryan for being sloppy. They broke up 2 weeks after the wedding. It's been 3 months since the divorce was finalized. I'm sitting on my back porch. Buster is chasing a tennis ball in the yard. The house is quiet, peaceful. I sold the big dining table Jessica loved. I bought a pool table. I still have trust issues. I probably will for a long time. But I checked my bank account this morning. The balance is growing. No secret withdrawals. No Cabo trips. My phone buzzed. It was a text from Sarah, the bride. We hadn't spoken much since the wedding. It was awkward. Sarah, hey Mike. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I had no idea. Thank you for telling me before I let that snake, Ryan, stand at my altar any longer. Dave and I are doing okay. Hope you are too. I smiled. I didn't ruin the wedding. I saved the marriage. Well, her marriage. I took a sip of my beer. The war was over. The enemy was defeated. The territory was reclaimed. Scorched earth works. It leaves a scar, sure. But at least the weeds don't grow back. They say time heals all wounds. That's a cliche, and like most cliches, it's only half true. Time doesn't heal the wound. It just turns it into a scar. And a scar is good. A scar is thick skin. A scar is a reminder that you survived something that tried to kill you. It's been exactly 365 days since the wedding. 1 full year since I stood on that dance floor and pressed play. My life looks very different now. The big colonial house. I sold it. Too many ghosts in the hallways. Too many memories of her cooking in the kitchen or sitting on the couch texting him. I took the equity, every single cent of it, and bought a modern condo in the city. Floor-to-ceiling windows, brick walls, no lawn to mow. A fresh start. I also finally took that trip to Italy. Remember the one Jessica and I were supposed to take for our anniversary? The one she postponed so she could go to Cabo with Ryan? Yeah, I went alone. I spent 3 weeks in Tuscany. I drank Chianti, I ate pasta until I couldn't breathe, and I realized something profound while watching the sun set over Florence. I like myself. For years, I had been trying to be the husband Jessica wanted. I was the provider, the nice guy, the pushover. But Italy Mike was free. I hadn't seen Jessica since the day we signed the divorce papers. I had blocked her number, her email, her socials. She was dead to me. But the universe has a funny sense of humor. Last Tuesday, I was at the grocery store. The cheap one, not the fancy organic place we used to go to. I was picking up some snacks for a game night with friends. I turned the corner into the frozen food aisle, and there she was. She didn't see me at first. She was staring at a box of frozen dinners. She looked different. The glamorous Jessica, the woman who spent $400 on hair appointments and wouldn't be caught dead without designer heels, was wearing sweatpants and a worn-out hoodie. Her roots were grown out. She looked tired. Not just sleepy tired, but soul tired. I could have turned around. I could have walked away. But I didn't. I stood there. She reached for the cheapest brand of frozen lasagna. Then she looked up. Our eyes locked. For a second, I saw panic in her face. Then shame. She dropped the box. Mike, she whispered. I didn't say anything. I just nodded. You look good, she said, her voice trembling. You look happy. I am, I said, and I meant it. She took a step toward me. I saw the gears turning in her head. Maybe she thought she could charm me. Maybe she thought enough time had passed. Mike, I miss you. I miss us. My life is a mess. My parents still won't really talk to me. I'm working as a receptionist at a dental office. It's awful. She started crying. Right there in the frozen food aisle. I made a mistake, Mike. A huge mistake. Ryan was nothing. He was a fantasy. You were real. Is there any chance we could get coffee? Just to talk. I looked at her. I remembered the laundry room. I remembered the loser husband text. I remembered the sound of her laughing on the car recording about stealing my money. I smiled. It wasn't a mean smile. It was a smile of pity. I don't drink coffee with strangers, Jessica, I said softly. Strangers? She sobbed. I was your wife. My wife died in a laundry room a year ago, I said. I don't know who you are, but I hope you enjoy the lasagna. I walked past her. I didn't look back. I paid for my groceries and walked out to my car. I thought I would feel angry. I thought I would feel sad, but I felt nothing. And that, my friends, is the true opposite of love. Not hate. Indifference. And what about Ryan? The coach? The wealth manager? Well, Cousin Ben keeps me updated, even though I tell him I don't care. Turns out, getting fired for financial ethics violations blacklists you from the banking industry. Who knew? Ryan couldn't get a job in finance anywhere in the state. He had to move back to his hometown in Ohio. Last I heard, he's working at a car rental dealership near the airport. He gained about 30 pounds. He's balding. And apparently, he tells anyone who will listen that his crazy ex-girlfriend's husband ruined his life with a fake video. He's still the victim in his own head. But that's the thing about narcissists. They never learn. They just find new people to blame. At least he's not ruining anyone else's wedding in 4K resolution anytime soon. So why did I tell you this story? Why did I spend 40 minutes narrating the worst year of my life? Is it to tell you to spy on your spouse? No. Is it to tell you to use projectors for revenge? Well, maybe a little bit. But the real lesson is about trust and intuition. I ignored the red flags. I ignored the phone hiding. I ignored the late nights. I ignored my gut feeling because I wanted to believe in the fairy tale. I wanted to believe I was safe. But safety is an illusion. If something feels wrong, it is wrong. If your partner calls you crazy for asking a simple question, that's not love. That's manipulation. If you find yourself walking on eggshells in your own home, leave. Don't wait for the Apple Watch notification. Don't wait for the PI report. Don't wait until they drain your bank account. Respect yourself enough to walk away the first time they show you who they really are. I'm Mike. I'm an architect, a dog dad, and a survivor of the wedding projector incident. And I'm finally living the life I deserve. If you enjoyed this story, if you cheered when the screen lit up, or if you just hate cheaters as much as I do me a huge favor. Scroll down and click that subscribe button. Join the ThreadVerse community. We share stories like this every single day. Stories about justice, karma, and regular people fighting back. Also, hit that like button. It helps the algorithm find other loser husbands who might need a wake-up call. Leave a comment below. What would you have done? Would you have stopped the wedding? Or would you have waited for the reception like I did? I read every single comment. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And remember, the truth always comes out. Sometimes, it just needs a little help from a projector. See you in the next one. Stay loyal. Stay sharp.